Hey guys, Brent Hull for Old House Journal. We're looking at an historic room. This is the Rockefeller Library from New York in about 1920s. I'm going to show you 4 things that we can learn from this library today. Come follow me. One of the cool things we get to do at Hull Millwork is to actually take historic rooms and really study them. I'm official licensee or exclusive licensee for the Rooms at Winter Tour, which is reproducing historic rooms from the past. One of the great things about working with these rooms is my guys and my craftsmen actually can learn a lot of great secrets and a lot of great ways of building that have been lost and we've forgotten. So I'm going to show you 4 things that we learned from studying the historic room like this. And this is the Rockefeller apartment out in New York. It's about 1920, okay? Now this is an English paneled room, okay? I've shown you in other English paneling details kind of the way they did their moldings, that they've got this slanted edge here. It's called a mason's miter. It was attributed to masons and woodworkers working after the way masons built. But we've got a pretty cool entablature, right? Here's our fluted column, fluted Ionic column. Now, what happens in that Tudor Jacobean era, Classicism is a little bit funky. So this is our entablature. I've got an architrave, a frieze, and a cornice, okay? Notice the scale of those moldings, how small they are, how cool they are. Our frieze is decorated with this strapwork carving, okay? And so design-wise, we learn and we look at stuff like this and we go, okay, the proportions of these things are interesting. The size of them, it's not huge. The scale of the moldings this way, the depth of them, maybe that's 5/8, maybe a 1/2 inch, which means we can't just take a 3/4 piece and apply a panel mold. It'll look too thick and too fat, right? And so we look at this and we study it closely so that we can make sure we get the details right. The way they did this Ionic column and the egg and dart, it's all funky, right? It's all different from the way we normally do it. So look at this Ionic capital, right? If you look at the classical example, right, that how full and how rich the little volute is and everything, look how this is kind of squunched, right? How it's kind of pushed together. It's a funky level of classicism, right? In the Tudor Jacobean era, they didn't necessarily take the rules from Palladio and classicism and apply them. They instead took them and adapted them to the way that they were building, so that you end up with an architrave that isn't really full in the scale and the size. The moldings and the size of the moldings is different. It's an English interpretation of the classicism that gives it that charm. Second thing is that you can put a square peg in a round hole. Let me tell you what I mean by that. If you look at this panel detail here, we've got a square peg, okay? Now, why is there a square peg? When I was in North Bennett Street, one of the things we learned is that you cannot put a round dowel into a peg like this, otherwise it'll fall out, okay? What happens is that these pegs are actually faceted and square, so that we are actually drilling a round hole and then we're driving a square peg in there, right? Because what happens is those edges of the peg are like teeth, and they get in there and they do not move and they will not come out. If we put a round dowel in there, even if it's slightly over, by the time it shrinks and the wood swells and moves, that peg will fall out. So you can put a square peg in a round hole, and look at the character of these pegs, right? Look how each one is a little bit different, okay? Each one's facing a little bit different direction. Gives it that real handmade quality, right? There's a life to this thing that not everything is exactly the same. 3. We learned how these old guys used to put panels in the wall. Now, everybody knows that the panel, okay, or if you don't know, you should know, the panel was, and the style and rail design was designed so that a panel could float, right? And so we don't have a bunch of wood on here that's going to expand and contract. And if you had a 4-foot wide piece like this, it might expand and contract 1/2 inch or more, okay? So the style and rail design was created to capture the panel so that it could float. Now, what happens sometimes is that if your guys are putting these panels in and you're dropping them in there, and then you peg this panel, right, or you nail this panel, it actually would drive into the panel and stick it there, and now your panel's stuck and your panel can crack, okay? Well, what they did to overcome that was they created a floating panel where there's a stop on the inside here. So what they've done is they've created a kind of a a free-floating system within this stile and rail, and then pegged it with these little wedges on the back side so that nothing is going into the panel. The panel is free to float. Pretty cool detail as far as how they built the panel. Notice too, on the back side of this, it's all primed, right? It's all painted brown. Why did they do that? Because if you don't finish the face the same as you finish the back, it'll cause the board to warp. Okay, so they have to seal the back, which is what they've done is they've painted the back here. They have to seal the wood so that when they put the varnish on the front side, it doesn't cause the board to warp. 4, the door design, right? Notice what's happening here. Now this door is from that same room, but you might go, well, that doesn't match the paneling in the door. And I would go, well, yeah, it does. Look at this, right? So on the back side, we've got an 8-panel door, right? 10-panel door. And on the front side, we've got a 3-panel kind of more Georgian door. So evidently what happened in this house is, or in this apartment, is you had a very classical room on one side, and then you had an English paneled, library on the other side. Now, how did they build it? And I've talked about doors before, and one of the things we do at our shop is we do stave core. Now, where did we learn stave core? Oh, we looked at the past, right? What's happened here, what you're seeing is the stave core of this style coming through here. We also see a mortise and tenon joint on this rail, okay? How did they build in the past? Almost always with mortise and tenon joinery. And then after 1900, they started building with stave cores because it's a much more stable way of building. We learned this from the past. In fact, we've even improved this. This veneer is probably 3/32, something like that, a little less than an eighth. We use a 1/4 inch veneer because we've seen doors, especially on the outside, where the thicker veneer, now this is an interior door, so it doesn't matter as much, but on those exterior doors, if you don't have a thick veneer on there, that door will come apart. So, learning from the past, we learned how they put together a door with 2 sides like this, right? We learned how to peg a door so that the pegs don't come out. And so we have this beautiful design piece. We learned how to lock the panels in there, right? So they free float, and we still have this stile and rail system. And then we also learned about this funky design details, right? That's all part of that Tudor Jacobean era, all learning from the past. Great stuff. If you're trying to add this kind of magic to your room, right, we can help you find it. We've got architectural salvage sources all over the country. We can also rebuild this, right? So we're going to take this for a client and actually expand it to be about twice the size that it is. But we're going to use these pieces of the past, replicate it. We get better when we do this stuff, so it's something we really love to do. If you have a room like that or you need some help, info@brenthull.com. We'd love to help you out. Okay guys, so if you own an old house, right, and you want to infuse life in it, or if things like this have been stripped out of it, we can learn a lot from a room like this. You can take rooms like this and infuse life into them, because architectural salvage should be part of your old house, should be part of learning how to build and building better. A lot of these things have been forgotten, and your old houses are keys and treasure chests for great ideas for building. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Hull Millwork, Hull Homes. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.